Joplin City Council meeting to discuss COVID costs. I'm Chris Warner. We'll break down the numbers.
Some Oklahomans run into problems scheduling a COVID vaccine appointment. We look at the final preps in D.C. before Joe Biden's presidential inauguration tomorrow.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin City Council discusses COVID costs in the city. This is KOAM News at 10. The topic was on the agenda for tonight's meeting. KOAM's Chris Warner was there.
The cost of COVID. We've seen it in terms of businesses closing and unemployment claims rising. But there's also costs for cities like Joplin to provide COVID-related services to its citizens. Those costs are being covered through CARES funding.
The funding has been used for mostly for funding the contact tracing and case investigations within the Joplin Health Department.
The city of Joplin itself has had to use CARES funding as well for its employees.
The federal law granted 80 hours of COVID time, and city employees have had to use that, and that's an eligible expense. And so that's been a portion of it too, as well as regular city employees that have redirected our normal work time towards COVID. So that's been the majority of our costs.
Finance Director Leslie Haas breaks down where things stand so far.
We've submitted almost $1,080,000, and we expect to receive all of it back except about $8,000. So it's just a timing standpoint of receiving the reimbursements.
As for that timing, Haas says through December 28th, the city has received just under $500,000 in reimbursements, with more to come. But there's still more money that's needed.
Newton County has used all of their CARES dollars. Jasper County still has some remaining CARES dollars. And so we're still doing contact tracing, case investigation. We may have costs related to vaccinations. We still have quarantine situations that we're responsible for, and so we'll still be able to submit those costs to Jasper County.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Haas says although the president extended the CARES deadlines through December 31st of this year, Missouri Governor Mike Parson has extended the deadline only through June. Ottawa County, Oklahoma residents hit a roadblock when trying to schedule COVID-19 vaccine appointments. Some Oklahomans say they have not been able to schedule appointments for their second dose of COVID-19 vaccine on the state's web portal. Deputy Commissioner of Health Keith Reed says the department is adding appointments as vaccines come in, but availability will continue to be low as vaccines just trickle into the state.
So I don't want people to be concerned that they're not going to get their second dose right now. We are prioritizing these second doses based off of vaccine that's coming into the state.
Other officials with the State Department of Health say appointments are created in the middle of each week for the following week. They'll announce when appointments are available on the Ottawa County Health Department Facebook page. Nick Kelly joins us now with a first look at the weather. Hi, Nick.
Good evening, Dell. We've had a pretty quiet day overall, but as advertised, we had to turn a little bit cooler compared to yesterday. Instead of the mid-50s, we had to make do with the mid-40s. Still, an impressive rebound after we started cold at 24 this morning, with both numbers, the low and the high, right about where we should be for late January, just about. The Skywatch Storm Tracker had cloud cover to start the evening out, but now we're turning mostly clear while we keep an eye on our next storm system out in the southwest. I'm going to send a little energy our way with maybe a few showers late tomorrow night. In the meantime, though, as far as tonight goes, it's cold, but we're dry right now. 29 in Iola, with everybody else sitting mainly in the lower 30s. Quick look at the day ahead of us. Has it starting cold with maybe a few areas of patchy fog. Otherwise, we're dry. 28 to start, but a strong southwest wind kicking into gear tomorrow should send us back into the lower 50s for highs. We'll break down our 7-day forecast, including when we can see winter weather back in here. Coming up in a bit now.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Nick. Kansas closed the state capitol complex today. It'll remain closed tomorrow during the inauguration. Governor Laura Kelly says it's out of an abundance of caution after the FBI warned of possible armed protests in all 50 state capitals. In the wake of her announcement, Kansas Supreme Court Chief Justice Marla Luckert and a spokesperson for Secretary of State Scott Schwab said their offices would follow suit. The State House will remain open to those with specific business in the building, but closed to the general public. Joe Biden is just hours from becoming the 46th president of the U.S. He and his family arrived in Washington today, but with no crowds allowed to greet them. Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill.
On the eve of his inauguration, President-elect Joe Biden briefly spoke at a vigil at the Lincoln Memorial for victims of the coronavirus.
To heal, we must remember. It's hard sometimes to remember, but that's how we heal.
The nation's capital would normally be swarming with visitors the night before a new president is sworn in, but people have been urged to stay home this year because of social distancing rules and an unprecedented security crackdown prompted by the attack on Capitol Hill.
Though we may be physically separated, we, the American people, are united in spirit.
Earlier Tuesday, President-elect Biden flew from Delaware to Joint Base Andrews after security concerns forced him to cancel his plan to take a train to Washington. Mr. Biden grew emotional before his departure.
When I die, Delaware will be written on my heart.
Here on Capitol Hill, senators held confirmation hearings for 5 key cabinet nominees on Tuesday, from Homeland Security to Defense Secretary.
The job of the Department of Defense is to keep America safe from our enemies. But we can't do that if some of those enemies lie within our own ranks.
At least a dozen of the roughly 25,000 National Guard troops working the inauguration have been pulled from duty, including 2 said to have made extremist statements. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
The Bidens are spending tonight at Blair House, the official presidential guest house that's across the street from the White House. President Trump also stayed there the night before his inauguration in 2017. President-elect Biden says he won't lift coronavirus travel restrictions, blocking outgoing President Trump's wishes. Aides to the president-elect say that Biden will keep travel bans on Europe and Brazil in place. Yesterday, President Trump ordered an end to those restrictions, as new regulations will require incoming travelers to have proof of a negative coronavirus test starting January 26th. However, the new administration won't allow that to happen, citing advice from medical professionals to be vigilant in the wake of the new COVID-19 surge and more contagious variants spreading. Sources say President-elect Biden plans to shut down the development of the Keystone XL pipeline. In fact, the incoming administration plans to rescind the permit for the pipeline on day 1, according to 2 sources familiar with the decision. They say the president-elect plans to make the executive order one of his first actions on climate change. The Keystone pipeline system stretches more than 2,600 miles, carrying crude oil from Canada into Texas. The XL section has been protested and opposed by numerous indigenous groups. Still ahead, we're going to check out the status of some historic preservation projects in Joplin. Plus, an area organization kicks off an art contest ahead of Black History Month. Kansas Bureau of Investigation releases new details on a death case out of Arcadia, Kansas. On January 13th, Crawford County deputies received a tip about a body at the Arcadia home of 37-year-old Nicholas Carrillo. When deputies found a body on the property, they say Carrillo ran. He was found 2 days later on January 15th and arrested on drug charges. Authorities say the body is that of Derek Ewell of Kansas City, Missouri, who was reported missing, and that the death happened at a hotel in Kansas City. Carrillo is now charged with criminal desecration of a body. A Veneta, Oklahoma man is charged with domestic assault after police say he intentionally drove his car off the road with his family inside. 35-year-old Kevin Hibben is charged with 4 counts of first-degree domestic assault. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, on January 6th, Hibben, his wife, and 3 kids were in a car on Jute Road 5 miles north of Seneca. Authorities say Hibben then deliberately drove the vehicle off the road and into a tree, injuring everyone inside, some seriously. The Joplin Historic Preservation Commission met today to discuss the status of projects around the city, and that includes plans for the future of Memorial Hall. The commission did not determine anything at this time, but scheduled a final public meeting for May 6th. Also discussed was a project to put up signs at the city's cemeteries, giving some history on them.
I think it's great. I think that, often when people visit cemeteries, those were places that they were often considered like the first public parks before we really had a park system. So I think it's really good that we have that information there and available for people.
The cemetery signs are being put up now that the cemeteries are designated as historic sites. If you live in an old house, you might have wondered what pieces of history might be hiding under the floorboards. Well, a construction crew renovating the Schifferdecker house in Joplin uncovered some of that history. Workers found around 400 pieces of dishes, bottles, hand tools, and other household items, even bones, though officials say they are not human bones. Brad Belk, the preservation director and curator of the restoration project, says the items are from around the 1890s.
Basically, a lot of them were daily items that were used at that time. And it gives us insight into that culture and that era. So
Belk hopes to get the items cleaned and put on display in the future. February is Black History Month, and U.S. Cellular is getting kids ready with an art contest. Starting today, Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri members can create artwork recognizing influential black men and women from all around the globe. Organizers say they don't just want the kids to draw the figures, but to also understand what made them iconic.
It actually has a readout on it of everything that they've accomplished in their lives. So the staff is actually showing them their pictures, and they're getting them involved with that as well, whether it's reading it off to them or them reading it themselves.
Finalists will be chosen, and anyone 18 and older can vote for their favorite artwork online in February. Nick Kelly is up next with his complete forecast. And later in sports, the Neosho Wildcats are defending state wrestling champions, and they've started off this season undefeated. They look to continue that streak against Carthage.
Welcome back. We're just going to dive right into it with first our usual look at indigo sky. The time lapse just outside of Seneca, Missouri. You can see how we started the day out with mostly cloudy skies. Thankfully, it was nice to see some returning sunshine. We'll call that partly sunny right up until that nice looking sunset there earlier this evening. We had cloud cover to start the evening out, but now we're mostly clear. And that certainly has allowed us to stay cold at the 10 o'clock hour. 32 in Joplin feels like it's colder 26. Thanks to a southwest breeze now at 6 miles per hour. That's certainly a nice change in the wind direction since our northwesterly breeze this morning. We are seeing temperatures mainly in the upper 20s to lower 30s across much of the region at 10:18 on this Tuesday night. And again, we have seen temperatures fall quite a bit since sunset. And as the breeze lightened up, earlier today we had that northwest wind at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. We had a westerly breeze an hour ago, now starting to shift more out of the southwest. And that will thankfully limit us to dropping back into the upper 20s tonight, and finally back into the 50s for tomorrow. Skywatch Solar Tracker again staying quiet with cloud cover to start the evening out, now off to the east. So we're keeping things pretty nice and quiet as we begin the late night hours here. High pressure that gave us a northwest breeze today, continuing its trek across Oklahoma and Texas. As it continues on, it will bring that southwest wind back into action tomorrow, while we keep an eye on the next cold front. Not the front immediately to the north of us around St. Joseph, but the cold front coming out of Canada. That will bring us to a cool start to the weekend by the time it rolls in on Friday. In the meantime, though, before that gets here, I'm watching a little bit of upper-level energy coming from this low centered across the Baja Peninsula in Southern California. That could bring in a few showers by this time tomorrow night and maybe early Thursday morning. So let's see if we can time that out for you on the future track here. We're keeping things quiet for the overnight, but as that southwest wind kicks into gear, I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit more moisture results in temperatures running close to the dew point. So even though it looks mostly clear here, I wouldn't be surprised if we had a few areas of patchy fog. If it can develop, a few spots will see it, and it's not going to be very dense. So we're not too worried about that as overnight lows drop back into the upper 20s. Increasing clouds throughout the day, but I think partly sunny skies by noon, and then mostly cloudy skies by the afternoon. Despite the increase in the clouds, though, look at that southwest wind kick into gear once we get into the afternoon. That'll take us from 28 in the morning, 46 by noon, and afternoon highs very nice, right around 52 degrees. That upper level energy coming at us from the southwest keeps any good rain chance as well to the south, but I would not be surprised if a few of our southern counties Could see a few showers as we go into Wednesday evening and maybe as late as Thursday morning. But overall, most of us will stay quiet, and everybody will be back into the mid-50s by Thursday afternoon. Then there's the weekend and early next week. This quick upper low passes on. We stay quiet for Friday and for much of Saturday. Then a trailing low really makes things interesting for Sunday and early next week. What may start as rain chances on Sunday could, with much colder air working in for Monday and Tuesday, bring in a chance for a rain, ice, snow mix with temperatures rapidly dropping on Monday, and then maybe another quick storm system with rain and snow by next Wednesday. Before all that mess gets here, though, let's enjoy the next few days with relatively quiet skies, and temperatures not bad, Dal. 52 tomorrow and 54 on Thursday.
Yeah, not bad. It's going to warm up relatively quickly, I guess, through the course of tomorrow morning into the afternoon.
Yeah, not bad for late January.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up in sports, Neosho Wrestling aims to stay undefeated on homecoming night against Carthage. Plus, the Pitt State women ride a 7-game winning streak into their biggest game of the season. Sports Director Jacob Leonard has details up next.
The defending state champion Neosho Wildcats are 9-0 to start the wrestling season. Now, tonight is homecoming night for the Wildcats, hosting the Carthage Tigers. Now, Carthage comes into the night with a 15-4 dual record. It's had a bunch of good matches tonight. This one really good, 120 pounds. Neosho's Landon Kivett down 10-9 in the third period. Check it out, boom. Gets the takedown for 2. Kivett takes an 11-10 decision with that. 138 pounds here. Carthage gets an exciting finish. This was the loudest one of the night. Eli Sneed down 4-3 in literally the final seconds of the third. He gets the big takedown right before the buzzer. Sneed takes a 5-4 decision. And Neosho would go on to close this thing out. 160 pounds, Trent Neese wins by fall in about 5 minutes over Gray Pettigrew. And at 170 pounds, this dude's really good. One of the best I've seen. 3-time state champ Caden Nauk wins by fall early in the second period. Neosho now 10-0. Wildcats over the Tigers tonight, 57-10. Well, tonight is night one of the boys bracket at the Southeast Lancer Classic. On the first round this evening, we have a couple of teams out of Joplin squaring off. Macaulay Catholic on the floor this evening against College Heights. College Heights opens up the game hot. Miller long from deep. He had a game-high 30 on the night. Cougars up 3 early. Now later on in the quarter, pass to Curtis Davenport. He knocks down the long ball. College Heights now up 4. Into the first, Long with the steal. Check it out. Getting up and shaking the rim a little bit. Cougars up 17-8. Macaulay tries to answer on the other end. 3 ball here. Warriors, though, down 13 at half. Third quarter, Daniel Wagner with the layup through a little traffic. However, Warriors still down double digits. College Heights would hold off Macaulay tonight, 66-53. The Pittsburg State women are on a roll right now, winning 7 straight games. And with 2 big games coming up this week, it's a perfect time for the Gorillas to be playing their best. The Pittsburg State women's basketball team is one of the hottest in the MIAA right now, posting 7 straight wins.
Winning is fun, and when we were losing, it wasn't too fun, but we came and put it all together. The biggest key is our defense. For now, in the last few games, we went with a more defensive approach, and we actually have had defense, and so I think that really all in all, if we can just keep that up, we should be fine.
The Gorillas are hot at the right time, with the undefeated Nebraska Kearney Lopers coming to town on Thursday.
They're good, yeah, but I mean, we are too, so we're very, very excited for this matchup.
They're holding teams to less than 60 points the last couple games, 39 or 35 and 34. We're going to have to be really sharp offensively, and then we're going to have to continue to put together some defense that we can get some stops.
We've been up there and ended up winning the past 2 years, so I know that they're hungry for one, but I mean, I feel like we're hungrier.
Pitt State is getting a boost from junior guard Tristan Gegg. Gegg is 5th in the MIAA in scoring and scored 24 against Washburn Saturday, including 8 in overtime.
The Washburn game in particular, points were hard to come by. To have Tristan step up in those moments, in those defining moments when we need her, that's what you want your players to do.
I would say I'm pretty confident. I think our whole team is, to be honest, but I just know that Coach David believes in me, my teammates believe in me, and when you are confident, it shows, and just getting in the gym more, what I've been doing, so it's helped a lot.
Junior forward Julia Johnson has also come on strong, averaging 12 points and 7 boards the last 4 games.
Way more comfortable. I have a lot more confidence, and it's fun. Once I gained this confidence, I'm having fun with the game, and I'm just playing and helping my team. Just the process has paid off for her, and then she's made some really big plays to help her confidence here lately, and she's in the gym a lot. She's a self-made player.
And while they hope to make it 8 straight on Thursday, the Gorillas have found their groove and found out what they can be.
I think our glue is really good right now, and I think that's something we didn't have before, and that takes a lot of kids playing different roles that maybe they didn't realize that was going to be their role, but as we've started to win, it's been a lot more fun, and people are accepting different roles and stepping up at different times.
Pittsburgh State plays Nebraska Kearney on Thursday night before turning around and hosting Fort Hays State on Saturday afternoon. That's a look at sports. We're back after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Rob Vermillion served in the U.S. Army in 2004 and 2005. The Joplin native was stationed in Iraq, and we salute Specialist Rob Vermillion, a four-state hero. Hey, NASA has red-hot plans for the Red Planet next month. The space agency has 3 missions from Mars in February, and one of them will allow the people living here on Earth to hear sounds from Mars for the first time. Microphones riding on NASA's Perseverance rover will record sounds from the planet. NASA expects to hear ambient noises like wind and the rover as it works. Still, they say recording sounds on Mars is a unique experience. Quite an experience, I would say.
Certainly would be.
Nick Kelly, you're keeping your eyes on the sky. What's going on?
Well, nothing threatening for tonight. Maybe a little bit of patchy fog, but we're looking pretty good for the next few days overall. 52 tomorrow, 54 Thursday. Cool to start the weekend. Then we'll be keeping our eyes on rain and winter weather chances by early next week, Dow.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.
If you see news happening, tell us about it. Send your news tip to